All right. We are here in a special Tahoe Talk. I have a special guest. Wait for it. It is a Taryn from Tompkins Community Bank Tahoe Talk.
Ooh, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me in my Tahoe Talk guest speaker. You all don't get to just listen to me talk today. So I get asked this question a lot, so I decided to have Taryn with me. Mortgages, lenders, getting financing, buying a house. When do you talk to a lender?
So I think you should start talking to a lender the minute you decide that you are thinking about buying a house. There's never a time that's too early. And I say that because if you have things to work on with your credit or you need to save more money, you don't know that until you go through the process. So as soon as you think you're ready to start exploring the options of buying a house, we go through the pre-qualification. We can see what you qualify for. If there's anything you need to work on with your credit, or maybe you need to save more money to get to where you want to be, you're not going to know any of that until we go through the pre-qualification. If you're ready at that time, then you're ready to go and you can start shopping.
You're saying if I'm going to buy a house, then I shouldn't just start looking at houses first.
No, because what if you find a house, you fall in love with it, and then you can't afford it?
That's what I've been saying. And I didn't tell her to say that. Okay. I promise you I didn't tell her to say that. So first things first, if you're looking for a house, if you decided that you're going to buy, you should go to a lender first. What if they don't know a lender?
Well, you could go to a realtor first and they could refer you to a lender. So really you could start with either one. And some other things, if you're not quite ready to get pre-qualified yet and have your credit pulled, start working on not taking out any new debt, no late payments, paying down any revolving debt. If you have any collections, make sure those are paid off. Just start working on, being a good financeable person to get closer to being able to take out a mortgage.
Those are some great tips, Taryn, from Tompkins Community Bank. I can't help it. I love it. Another reason why it might be important to have this information?
There's a couple other reasons. So also, of course, the seller wants to feel comfortable with accepting your offer. It's also important to establish a relationship with a lender because as you're looking at homes in different areas have different taxes, different tax rates. Now, as of June 18th, different homes are going to be in flood zones, which is going to drastically impact certain homes and their monthly payments, which in turn impacts what you're going to qualify for. And then outside of thinking about the monthly payment, you also want to make sure you're comfortable with your total cash to close. We don't want to completely wipe out your savings. We want to make sure you're comfortable with the down payment and the closing costs. And just make sure that you're not wasting anybody's time, including your own, your realtors, the sellers and whatnot, and that the houses that you're looking at are things that you are comfortable with and can afford.
So you're saying there's more to buying a home than just learning what your budget is and then looking at houses.
Correct.
Ooh, it's a lot more comprehensive than you would think, buyers. That's why you need to talk to a lender first. When it comes to buying a home, if you're in a competitive situation, meaning a multiple offer situation, I think as a buyer and as a seller looking at that, they're going to want to know what kind of mortgage product the buyer is coming to the table with. There are different kinds of mortgage products, and some people tend to glaze over when I talk about this. So maybe you can touch upon, Taryn from Tompkins, what it means when I say mortgage products.
Mm-hmm.
There is something other than the conventional mortgage, which I know, that's what a lot of people talk about. But what other kinds of mortgage products are there?
So as far as the seller's concerned, the two biggest difference was going to be the government versus the conventional financing. And the government mortgages, which is going to be the FHA, VA, and USDA, are going to be important for a seller to know because they don't allow for any deferred maintenance. So no chipping paint, missing handrails, those sort of things. Not going to be great financing for a farmhouse out in the boondocks of Trumansburg. Conventional is not as strict on those types of properties, so might be a better option. When we're thinking about the buyer's side and what type of products there are for them, inside the conventional type of financing, there's a ton of different products. There's, the no closing costs, the fixed rate versus the adjustable, low down payment, no down payment, high down payment. So there's a lot of other options for the buyer inside of the conventional options and inside the government. But when it comes to the seller, they're going to be primarily concerned, I think, with, is it conventional or government? And then how much of a down payment are they going to be putting down, and how much do they qualify for?
This is why I say there is a lot more to it, and why you need a realtor and a good team of people to help you from start to finish. Another one of the things that I hear a lot, and I still hear it, and I actually just heard it the other day, is people still think that they need 20% down to buy a home. Do people still need, for a conventional loan, 20% down? Is that still a hard and fast rule?
No, ma'am. If you're going to own or occupy the home, sometimes it's as low as 0% down.
Listen, did you hear that? You don't need 20% down.
3%, 5%. It's going to depend on your income limit, if it's your first home. But the lowest down payment in all those scenarios is 5%. But could be as low as 3% or 0%, nothing down.
Taryn from Tompkins Trust says, I say it too, you don't need 20% down anymore. That is not the standard rule. As low as 5% down.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're waiting for. Prices aren't getting any lower. Buyers, if you are on the fence, now you know you don't need 20% down. There's all different kinds of mortgage products that could work for you, and you know, now is the time. Taryn, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Remember, behind the scenes, what happens in the Tahoe stays in the Tahoe.